Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode. I'm very excited to introduce you to Terence Tam. His company is called Radical Marketing, and I'm going to have him tell us a little bit about himself. So welcome, Terence. We're thrilled to have you on the podcast today.
Awesome, Jeanne. I just am so excited to be on this podcast. And just a bit of background about myself. I started off in academia, being a lecturer and all that. But after a while, the entrepreneurial bug just wouldn't leave me. And I decided, okay, that's it. I'm just jumping out and taking a step of faith and going into starting a business. So I started this little print shop back in Australia when I was still there. And that evolved into a book publishing business. And after a while, I realized, hey, I should really do something that I'm passionate about. And that's where I got back into marketing, which was always been my first love since my university days. So I started a marketing agency, and here we are 10 years later, specializing in putting bumps on seats for seminars and webinars and challenges and what have you for coaches and course creators all around the world.
I love that. I love that. We actually have a lot in common because I went to college for marketing and did have my own marketing agency as well. And I had that. I worked 9 to 5 and then I got the entrepreneurial bug. And here I am, 15, 20 years later.
It's a good infection to have that entrepreneurial bug.
It really is. It really is. And I can hear when you talk, your Australian accent comes through just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, so I was born in Australia. And as I mentioned, I kind of lived there half my life. And the rest of my life, I've been in Asia. And right now I live in Malaysia. And we've set up base in Malaysia. And it's been great. I mean, Malaysia is much more, accessible to the rest of the world compared to Australia. And I'm loving it in Asia right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I haven't been to either place, but it's on my list. So I'm sure we'll get there. Okay. So today we're going to talk about scaling your business with webinars. And I'm excited to talk about that because webinars can be so powerful, but webinars can also be not as effective as they can be. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we assume what we want people to know. We record it, we get it out there, we do the funnel and everything, and then it just falls flat. So I'm excited to hear your strategy and your secrets for making them effective. So tell us a little bit about webinars and how you work with people on webinars.
Okay, so what we've done over the past 10 years is we've developed 3 separate systems, and I'll just give you a high-level overview of these systems. And the first one is called Brandvertising. And why we call it Brandvertising is that most people in our space, what they do is they're just looking for the transaction, for the sale. But the issue is if you're teaching weight loss or investing, stock market investing, for instance, there's 5,000 other people teaching weight loss and stock investing. Being conservative here, there's probably more like 50,000, right? And one of the things is that most people don't think about how to use ads to actually stand out from the crowd. And that's why we've developed this whole system that simultaneously, while we're getting transactions, also aim to help our clients to brand themselves. So that they're playing the long game and the short game at the same time without running out of cash. Because you can't keep doing branding without making sales because you go broke pretty fast, right? That's step one, Brandvertising. The second system that we've developed, and this is where we see a lot of coaches leaving money on the table with their webinars, right? And that's why we developed this whole thing called the long tail webinar system. And what it does is that, all right, so taking a step back, most coaches would just go for the webinar and then maybe send out a replay, and that's the end, right? And they start counting the eggs, whether it was a success or whether it's a failure. Now, what we realize is that if you have a structured follow-up sequence after the webinar itself, maybe for up to 30 days or even longer, that's where you can actually get more sales. And in fact, sometimes you get more sales than the webinar itself, right? And so many people are leaving money on the table, and that's why we developed this whole long tail webinar system. And the final thing we have created, just quickly, is what we call the Blitzvertising system, and that's where we're running ads for our clients. And one of the things with ads is that they get expensive after a while, whether they're running on Facebook or YouTube and all that kind of stuff, right? So the Blitzvertising system does 2 things. One is rapid testing, because we don't know which ad actually works. We might, it's no point trying to spend 2 days coming up with one ad idea and think, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then you plow in all your hope and all your ad budget into it and find out it's actually a flop. So what we do is we do like 20, 30 different ads and test them, quickly cull the bad ones and leave the good ones running. And then from there, we further scale from there. And even when we find a really good one, the other goal here is that we want to beat the control ad, which is the winning ad, right? So even though we might get 50% off the normal CPLs, but we're like, okay, now how do we beat this? We don't rest on our laurels and take a vacation. That doesn't happen in the agency world, unfortunately. We try to beat the control. Okay, so that's basically the three things that we normally do. So I hope that sheds some light. And if you want to dig into any of them, let's do it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We're going to dig into all of them. So when you start working with someone, tell me a little bit about what you need to know from them and kind of where you start, because you probably don't start with the ads. You probably start with, I mean, do you help them put together the content for the webinar itself and make sure that there's a lot of different elements to a webinar. People think, oh, I'll just teach something, but there's a lot of nuances to making it effective. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think the first thing to really take note of is that most people, when they do webinars, they're like, I'm really good at this topic. I'll just teach this topic, right? But actually, the mindset, the correct mindset, and which is what we encourage our clients to do, and we help them to dig out this important thing, is that who is actually the person you serve? Who is your customer avatar, right? Not what you can teach, but who are you actually serving and what kind of problem are you actually helping them to solve, right? That is the most important thing, because otherwise you end up with a lot of our clients when they first come to us. So who do you want to target? Oh, anyone that has house and has money, you know? That's not a good way to do marketing at all. But it's so common. We might laugh here, but that is so common. Like probably 80% of our clients that initially come to us like that. So yeah, that would be the first thing that I would actually look at first. Okay, and your webinar has to help them to solve a pressing problem, right? Because otherwise, you're asking people to invest their time in you, maybe 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. And if you're doing a challenge, maybe over 3 or 5 nights or 5 days, you gotta help them to solve a problem that it's like a burning problem, a bleeding neck problem. Otherwise, they're not gonna show up. Right?
Yeah, I totally get
So
that. And we've all been through webinars where the first half hour is them talking about them. And that just drives me crazy because, yes, I want to know a little bit about you, but I want to solve my bleeding neck problem. So, do you encourage people to start with that really crazy, powerful problem at the beginning?
absolutely. And I think it is like one of the things that the mistake people often commit is that they try and solve too many problems at one webinar. But the thing is, people are just looking for that one big problem that you can help them solve, and they're willing to commit their time to it. So get very specific as to what problem you help them solve. For example, right, do not talk about how to invest in stocks, but maybe teach them specifically, how do you evaluate whether a stock is going to go up for the next 10 years, right? So it's a bit more specific than how to invest in stocks in general, right? And yeah, or how to evaluate whether a company is going to go bankrupt in the next 5 years. So those are more specific things that like kind of people will keep them, kind of what will keep people awake at night. Oh, is my stock portfolio going to drop by 20%? Is this company going to go bust? So I'm just using stocks here as an example. It can be anything else, right?
Yeah. No, I love that because I was subscribed to people with the theory that whatever you're teaching them in your webinar or educating them on, they're evaluating whatever you have to offer based on the value that you give them in the webinar. And now in our minds, I think sometimes we think, oh, we don't want to give away everything, but you kind of have to give away everything in one tiny part of what you offer. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. So you help them solve one problem, but it's useful. But then again, it's not solving the entirety of the problem. You might be helping them solve like a third of the problem, but the rest of the problem, they basically need to sign up for something else that actually solves the entirety of the problem.
Yeah, I love that. So when you help them create their webinar, then what's your next step? Is it the landing page to get people to sign up for it? Is it the ad? Is it both at the same time?
That's where the Blitzvertising process comes in. So before we actually run any traffic to the landing page, we want to decide what message actually will stick, right? What is the pain points that people will respond to? So what we do is we run some simple ads with pain points, just pain points in the ads and just run some traffic to it and see what people click on. So we might run 20 pain points, right? And we find that one of these pain points is like getting the most clicks. Then there's a good chance that is the pain point people want solved, right? And then we use that in our messaging. We use that, we communicate with the client to say, hey, you probably should solve this offer or have something along the lines in your webinar that can solve this problem for your prospect because they are responding to it. And the data backs it, so there's no arguments about it. So before actually constructing the funnel, that's what I would do. But once we have all the data or once we have all the research done on the customer avatar, the first thing we do is we will build the funnel first, right? Build the whole funnel, and that's the whole long tail webinar funnel. So we have the sequences and various pages, maybe like after the webinar, what do we have planned after the webinar? Is it like a blog post? Is it like some videos that we have planned or something else, some lead magnets that we might drop after the webinar? So we plan all that thing, build out all that. Sorry, let's start again. So we built the whole long tail webinar system out before we actually start running ads.
I love that. So let me jump back a little bit. So when you're testing ads, you're testing the problem. What do you ask for in the ad? Is it like answer this question, pick out what's your biggest hang up? Or is it you go ahead and put out there the pain points, but where do you direct them?
I mean, at this point, you're just testing. So you're using very small budgets. So the goal is not to get any conversions. The goal is just to get some clicks. And you might spend just $50, $100, but that's money well spent. So what we normally do is just get them to click and go to blog posts that the client has, or maybe just go to their homepage, just something that's relevant. And from there, we can kind of gauge because yeah, that is the whole purpose of the exercise.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. Because, yeah, I mean, it's funny. We want to go out there and tell them all these different amazing things that we can do for them. But at the end of the day, it's them. What is their big pressing issue that they need help with?
I find myself guilty of being too product centric rather than customer centric because we are here to help them solve problems, even as any business, right? So if we don't help them solve problems, they don't pay us money. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am totally guilty also of talking about features instead of benefits. So I know personally that's a problem that I have. And I'm sure a lot of your clients probably do as well. So we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. So hang on a minute. Let's see what they need first.
Yeah. Maybe the customer doesn't care what you can do. They care how you can help them.
You're so right. They really don't care. Okay, let's talk about after the webinar. You talked about following up with them for 20 to 30, no, did you say 30 days or something along those lines? I think that a lot of people would say 30 days. A lot of people would say, whoa, hang on a minute. That's too much. I send them 3 or 5 emails and that's it. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So here's the thing, right? I'm sure you and I have both gone to webinars and we have been like, oh, this sounds like a really good idea. And we're like, okay, let me think about it. And then like tomorrow comes and I kind of forgot about it. And then, oh, you get sent a replay and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me look into it later. And then you forget about it. And that happens so often, or people are just on the fence and they're thinking, $5,000? Do I really want to invest this $5,000? It sounds really good, but there's just something that I'm missing, some piece of information I'm missing, but I'm not sure what it is. And that's where that follow-up sequence where you constantly deliver value while asking at the same time. That is where we can convert some of those fence sitters into buyers. And that's the whole purpose of it. So I know it sounds like a lot, but it's like a drip sequence. So it's all automated. So you don't have to be on the computer typing every day, oh, what do I type today? And what do I do today? So it's kind of all set up, automated. So yeah, you're just basically sitting back and watching the inquiries or money orders come in.
Yes, I love that. We love automation. Let me see. I had another question. Oh, so let's talk a little bit about high ticket versus low ticket. Do you encourage people with webinars to be selling a high ticket item or not necessarily?
Good question. I think if you're running ads nowadays, it's actually good to actually have a high ticket offer because it's getting harder and harder to make money if you're running ads because ads are just becoming more competitive and everything else. So I would encourage you to come up with a high ticket offer, but then also have a low ticket downsell as well. Okay. And many times the sale at the webinar is not necessarily the high ticket item straight away. It can be the strategy session that comes next, maybe like a 30-minute discovery call, strategy session, whatever you want to call it. And then you might have 2 or 3 different offers after that, depending on what the client really needs and their budget, of course. And then you can prescribe them what suits their particular need. That is a model that works pretty well right now.
Yeah, I love that because sometimes it is hard to just go from cold traffic to a webinar. And even though they got to know you and spend some time with you, to get them to buy something, especially if it's high ticket. So you found that offering them something else or offering them a call has been a really good process.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, some people stick to the low ticket right after the webinar. And that's fine too, as long as you got that ascension model where you send them from like maybe $197 to $2,000 or whatever it is, right? So the key is you need to plan all that out.
Yeah. Oh, yes. The key is always to plan it all in advance and I've been guilty of this years ago when we first did webinars. It was like, oh my gosh, we should send them this. Oh, we should send them that. But we're a little smarter nowadays that we've done this quite a few times. So it sounds like you guys have a great plan and a great process for helping people. Do you typically work with people who've never done webinars or people who may have tried them? Tell me a little bit about who you work with.
Okay. Most people that come to us are usually relatively well-established coaches in a niche. I'm not talking super well-established like the Tony Robbins of the world, but somewhere maybe they're doing around $500,000 to $1 million, that kind of range, and they're kind of stuck because they probably hired an agency that is not doing the job properly. And that agency probably does webinars, they do lead gen for solicitors, and they do 10,000 other things, and they're not really focused. That's where they usually come to us and they say, how do we get this profitable, right? And those are the types of people that we normally help to actually scale to the next level. Because as like running ads, and that's what we normally do, run ads to fill webinars. Running ads is not a game for the weak-hearted. You really need to have the budget to run ads. And it's not, oh, I'll just have this $3,000 left saved up all year and I'll just run that and hopefully I'll make money from it. It doesn't work like that, right? You probably need to have at least 3 to 6 months of running webinars before you yourself get really familiar with the whole platform and what offers actually work and get the data back as well. So that's what I would suggest. And that's the type of people we normally work with that we get the best results for.
Yeah,
not the toe
absolutely.
dippers.
Go ahead.
And yeah, it's not the toe dippers, like people who are just, wow, let's try out webinars for once or twice or a month or two and see how it goes. Yeah, that normally doesn't work, no matter what agency you hire in that case.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So when you work with your clients, do they typically do live webinars or recorded webinars or one or the other or both? And do you have a launch, if you will, sign up for a webinar on this particular day? So tell me a little bit about those kind of details.
Yeah, most of our clients at the moment, they are doing live webinars, or some do like live webinars, so it's actually recording, but it appears live, and they market it as a live webinar. I know it's kind of a little bit deceptive, but yeah, I mean, that's on the client side, that's what they like to do, just to save time and all that kind of stuff. But as long as people get value, right, that's the bottom line. And so we find that live webinars, of course, the engagement is going to be way better because you're actually interacting with people and answering the questions and incorporating their feedback into your presentation. So live webinars tend to work better. In most cases, like evergreen webinars where people are seeing you that they can start at any time, those ones tend to get a high percentage of drop-offs. So it's not our preferred model. So unfortunately, yeah, you still have to probably do the live ones to get the best results.
Yeah. And do you encourage them to do one a month or one every other week or?
I think that comes down to, number one, the client's level of energy. And number two, whether they have the budget to run webinars every week. So some clients, they run webinars every week and they're just doing really well. Some clients choose to run a challenge every month because it's a lot more time consuming and energy consuming as well. If you're doing a 3 to 5 day challenge, that works pretty well as well. But if you're just running a 1 hour webinar, I would say at least do it fortnightly because you also need to learn how to present, how to close, and all those different things to make your webinar successful.
Yeah, I love that. Well, this has been amazing, Terence. You are a wealth of information. So I so appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this with us.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I hope I wasn't too technical and I basically contributed a lot of information to you guys out there.
Yep. No, never too technical. And we love all the details. And I must say, just to put my 2 cents in, you can spend an awful lot of money on Facebook ads and do nothing. So you really need to have somebody on your team or that you outsource to who knows what they're doing, because you can throw thousands and still not get the results you want. So we are grateful for people out there like you. And you have your own podcast. So tell us a little bit about that.
my own podcast called Founders Go Naked. And
So
maybe
fun.
I need to change the name because I'm attracting the wrong people sometimes for obvious reasons. But the whole reason why we called it Founders Go Naked was it was geared to become like a interview where we basically review everything, right? A podcast where we review everything. Yeah, check out Founders Go Naked. I add new episodes every week. So yeah, check it out.
Fantastic. And if people want to reach out to you because they want to learn more about how you might be able to help them use webinars to grow their business, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
I mean, happy to get on a discovery call with any of your listeners and provide value before we do anything, whether we have a right fit or not. So if that's you, just hop on to radical-marketing.com and you'll be able to find the contact details there. So that's radical-marketing.com. Unfortunately, the radicalmarketing.com without the dash is taken by someone in the Middle East and he refuses to sell me the domain name. That's life.
It happens. It happens. But that's fantastic. And we will definitely put that in the show notes so people can just click and go ahead and book a call with you. So again, Terence, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing all these details and sharing your talents. So we appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jeanne.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.